It's that time again to take a look at the Lego City, but what are we going to do? We finished Tatooine Tower, we finished Naboo Neighborhood, and we've actually finished Coruscant Condo. We've done the roofs, we've done the lot. So now it's time to take a look back at the older towers, and today we're going to start the renovating, specifically looking at the sitcom skyline, the Friends block, and there are some big changes in the work. So let's bring it to the desk and I'll run you through what I'm planning to do. So as you can see, we don't actually have the whole Friends or sitcom tower here. The reason it's the sitcom tower is because on the top floor we do have a Big Bang Theory apartment, which I'm not sure you can see really too well from this angle, but I did do a whole video last week going over all of the different scenes, so you can take a look at that if you would like. And I'll be completely honest, I'm thinking of just getting rid of the Friends apartment on the Big Bang Theory apartment, sorry, on the top, and just making it a Friends tower. That way we're switching it up. It's not a complete square block, and we've also got, I guess it's just a solid theme of a tower. I do like the Big Bang Theory apartment on top, and it does fit with the shape of the tower. As I don't have the Lego figures, they're pretty expensive. I was looking at getting customs at some point. I'm just not sure if we should keep it or design a rooftop. So I think you'll have to let me know in the comments. I'll probably have a little mock rooftop up just to help you decide. But that'll be towards the end of the video. We'll be looking at that. The other apartments, I do want to change a few things about. Mostly the lad's apartment on the ground floor. It doesn't match up to the bricks that the rest of the Central Perk and the other apartments, even the Big Bang Theory on top, matches a bit better than it. And I would like to take in, the original Friends sets had an open side, and it was, I think, this side for this apartment, but obviously if we spin it backwards we can't see the balcony from the front of the Lego City. So this wall here and this wall here are going to be removable walls. And what I mean by that is the wall can just pop off. Perhaps we'll add some sort of hinge or some clip bar element there so we can actually pull them off, though I don't think there's anything to the right of this, so it should be fairly easy just to pull on here. We might have to add something to the lad's flat so we can see the interiors. You can see through the window there, it's a bit glary, but you can see through to the couch. The big thing here is looking through to the kitchen, and in the lad's flat you just can't really see through the windows at all. And again, when we eventually add lights to the city, I think this is going to look really cool. So without further ado, let's start working on these removable walls. In theory, this should have been a really quick update to do, and there are a few things I want to get into later on in the video, but sometimes I forget that it's a lot easier said than done. It's not as simple as let's replace this wall with a fake wall or one that will pop out and bang, it's done. I actually have to break down the wall, and because it's connected in, the instructions are up on Rubricable if you do want to build it yourself, and on the Discord for members to get for free at Brick Tier. These are very well built for an old Lego model of mine, so I did have to break down a bit more of the wall than I expected to, but thankfully these aren't a Lego model. I didn't have to build it from scratch basically just to get one wall out, and the second apartment hopefully will be a bit easier. So that's one property down at least, and I'm quite happy with the way that the removable wall turned out. My hope is when this is in, let me grab the other flat so I can show you. When this is in the city, it will have a bit of weight on top. So I've got this hinge that looks like a gutter going along the side of the building. You can see there's a little groove in it, and that will allow me to pull it out and then reveal the interior of the lad's apartment. Again, we're going to need some lights in there so that we can see everything, but I'm happy that I did keep, it might be a little problem to get it back in, so we might have to workshop some sort of slopes. Ingots would look good, but not from the outside. I wonder if the wall is still structurally sound if we remove the base. My only worry with this is that it's going to take off some bricks when we try and flop it out, but I guess there's one way to find out, just by taking it out. All right, do we trust this? Let's give it a shot. So I've replaced the top with these dark tan slopes, which match the accents on the wall, and by placing those on top, it allows it to slot in and slot out. There is a small gap from the cheese wedge on the side, but we're not going to be seeing the side of it. The side of this building actually does go to an alley, but I'm not that fussed. It's in the corner. The alley's like 2 bricks wide. So I'm really liking how this looks. And I've got to remember the slopes for the other apartment as well. I'm not quite sure if we'll be adding this to the central perk. The central perk is just a door and a window, but perhaps we can take some of the characters out and make some other scenes. I actually really like this, and I'm thinking of keeping the Big Bang Theory apartment on top. There will still be a poll in the community because it is sitcom Skyline, and not only is it no longer a sitcom if it's just a single sitcom of Friends, we'll have to change the tower name, but also it's not really a skyline if it's not the tallest tower in the city. But now that we've done the lad's flat, it is time to do the one above. And like I said, these weren't easy. This was a bit more easy. I know we have to take out the window by the kitchen, but because it's built using those bricks already, there were no 1x6s or 1x8 plates and tiles that we had to move around. And that lad's flat, we had to pull out basically the entire left wall, whereas this one's got a door on the left, which makes it just as nice as the bit on the right. It's a bit more complicated towards the bottom filling around, and I am going to have to play around with the connection between the balcony and the wall, but because the wall was sunk 1 plate into the balcony, we're raising it up to get the told off bottom so the wall can be removed. So it's actually perfect height for the balcony, which I thought was really, really cool. And again, because we're raising it up the plate, we got the room for 2 slopes on top. So it actually worked out fine in the end, and this one took a lot less time. So now let's take a look at the finished result. And now with the second one, I did have to switch it up a little bit because we had that extra studs width. And I contemplated just having like a fake brick wall come up the side to sort of section it off. But what I've done instead is, like I said, in the voiceover, added the tile on the balcony so that it's actually complete. The brick wall isn't sinking into the balcony at any point, and the balcony is reinforced into the wall, which I think does make sense from a building standpoint. It's still going down 1 plate on the other side, but we're not going to pay much attention to that. And on the top, I've used one of these corner panels, which hopefully would mean if I can grab the Big Bang Theory flat, that it can still pull in and out. I'm not quite sure how this connects down to it. There we go. So it does make the flat on top a bit less stable, but we can pull it out still because of that corner, and it isn't too hard to put back in. You can see there's a little bit of friction there. Perhaps we do need to change it. My alternate to having the corner panel was using a 1x1 rounded element with a bar just to get it to stick out similar to the rest of the piece, and then I can also connect that over. But the problem with that is it does leave that little gap on the side, which we will see when we put this back into the city. There will be a little gap there, but it also gives us a better handle to pull it on and off. So I think we might have to go with this. Right now I can't think of anything else. We really do need that slope, and like I said, I could always build a 1 tall fake wall in there, which I'm definitely looking at doing, because then we still have the fake wall and it's half the size of the one below. I think I am going to give it a go building that fake wall, but I won't time lapse that. In fact, I could probably get it done on camera here, because whilst I'm building that, I can show you the technique I used to build this wall was the 1x4 bricks. I don't have any of them off the pab wall, but there were loads included in the set, which I already used originally when building that wall. So that was quite easy to make the wall hold itself up pretty much. Just make it very well structured, and there is so little chance of this thing falling apart just because of how well weaved it is into itself. There's really not much, if anything, that can go wrong. And as you can see, we end up with enough of the spare pieces to pile 4 of these up, just like the floor below actually. This is all that separates the windows in it. Really, I should be doing this on a hard surface like the back of the desk, and then this should clip into place. All right, I'm gonna have to fiddle around with this a little bit, but as you can see, all I've done is stack up a few more plates, and at the top, we've got the same pattern, so it does match the wall and doesn't look, at least it doesn't look that far off. And this does connect with the floor on top of it. It is a little less secure because of the different plates, but in saying that, I've moved this wall in one so the window has a bit of a steeper gradient, so that can be quite easily fixed. I'm not sure if this would fit any better. There you go, that is on there solid. So I've just got to replicate the same plate pattern with the floor below. I don't know if I like that being the top floor. It does look quite nice compared to having another brick built structure on top. And then what we'll have is some sort of like staircase block over to the side here. So this will be built up with bricks. You can barely see it on camera. I'm really going to have to debate that. Again, there'll be a community poll. Do you want the Big Bang Theory flat on top, or do you want a staircase? It's a pretty hard choice, but I'm happy now that we've got the little wall access. Let's take a look at what it looks like in the city. And now for the moment of truth. We've placed it in the city. Can we access the interiors? Taking out the flat at the bottom, we definitely need lights. My light can barely light up each of these rooms, but it works. It works. We have a success, floor 2. We also have a success. There's a massive fridge in the way. Perhaps I'll have to move that fridge along. Yeah, I didn't really think about that. So we definitely need to do something with the fridge, but you can still see in and around the fridge. Perhaps the fridge can just go 2 blocks to the left. The top floor is a bit harder. You can get the floor off as well for the Big Bang Theory flat, but it does usually require 2 hands. But I don't know if any of you've noticed, down to the right hand side, we also have the alleyway bricked out. We got a few bricks at the bottom, which I did use spare. And then because we go into rocky terrain, I've just used some grey panels to block it up to the height of the second flat. Dependent what we do decide with the roof depends if there is an actual building on the top, perhaps looking over. Perhaps we can do a little window for Ross's flat across the alleyway there. That could look quite good. But again, vote in the community tab because your vote matters. Whatever you decide, I will be going with. Do you think the Big Bang Theory flat should stay, or do you think it needs to go? And I'm also thinking about adding some windows onto the friend's flat here as well. Again, we'll have to decide with the fridge. Perhaps I can even make the fridge a bit smaller. The reason there's no windows on the Big Bang Theory flat is because they wouldn't be able to get planning permission above a balcony, at least not here in the UK. So I do want to make the city somewhat realistic. You know, a few Star Wars worlds, a few mystical characters. We literally have a stormtrooper down here riding a bike topless. But that is Taylortown for you. The buildings are realistic and nothing else. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I really do enjoy building the city. It's a huge passion project of mine. I've actually made it through the entire album, Lady Gaga's Harley Quinn album, which I don't know if it's related to Joker 2 in any way, but it's really good. A ton of good covers in there. And I just really enjoy working on this city. We will be working on the Star Wars mock just below it very, very soon. I've just got to finish up on the AAT. It's taken a long time. Hopefully it really does turn out well. And then we've got to build the rest of the scene. So stay tuned for that. A few more orders as well coming to this channel. Hopefully over the next few days I can announce all the different things I've got on top of yesterday's announcement. If you haven't already seen it, go check it out. If you want to become a member, support the channel even further, there's a bonus behind the scenes video for that announcement as well. And I hope you're enjoying all the work here on the channel. I appreciate all of your support and every one of you that are active in the comments, liking the videos, or just simply watching through and putting up with all the ads that YouTube gives you. But thank you so much for making it again to the end of the video. Check out all the other videos on screen now, and may the bricks be with you always.